Good evening and welcome to this edition of Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, presidential politics. Donald Trump called into the Steve Malzberg show earlier. It will re-air again tonight at 10 p.m. And he talked about Hillary Clinton and whether or not, with the current difficulty she has, she'll be forced out of the race.
I think it's going to be about her. I think it's going to be about the Democrats. How are they going to have somebody running who's most likely, in terms of if there's fairness in the world of prosecution, who's most likely, Steve, going to be, in big trouble? I don't know how you can do it.
Let me ask.
And you're right. Her numbers are,
oh my God,
dropping like a rock.
Joining me now on the anchor desk, Miranda Kahn. And for more on this story, let's go to Newsmax New York and bring in Dick Morris, political analyst and author of the best-selling book, Power Grab: Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. Dick, Donald Trump took to Instagram for his latest campaign video calling out the actions of both President Obama and Hillary Clinton. Let's take a look at this ad, all 15 seconds of it, and then get your reaction. Politicians having fun on our dime while the world is burning. Short but effective, and he delivers it via Instagram. Your take?
Well, it's just what Trump ought to do. Trump is like this gigantic cannon. And if I come to you and I say, what do you think of the cannon? You say, well, it all depends on who it's aimed at. If it's aimed at my adversary, I think it's great. If it's aimed at me or friendly fire, I think it's horrible. And with Trump, the attacks are so strong and so significant that they're great when they're against the Democrats. But when it's turned on a fellow Republican or even on a news anchor, it's questionable. And I think that Trump needed to focus his fire on the Democrats and not constitute friendly fire. He was far too tied up in this whole debate about news anchor and what do you say about this person, what do you say about that person. And he needed to focus to show how effective his fire would be if aimed at the Democrats. The one thing I'd say about it is that you don't have to reach back into history to do it. What Obama and Clinton are now trying to do to the country on the Iran deal is worse than anything he could recapture from the past. And I think what Trump needs to do is, whether by Instagram or paid television, he needs to get out there and be leading the charge against this Iran deal. If Donald Trump is in combat against the Democrats, we're going to love him. But if Donald Trump is just out there on his own, when we have to judge him and we have to say, who has he said about what, and is he against women and all that, we begin to find fault. So like a good cannon, he needs to fire, but at the enemy.
Well, you mentioned television, and we also talked about Instagram. I want to get your opinion. Do you think that's a wise move instead of focusing on cable TV ads and using social media instead to get his message across?
Well, if Trump sneezes, he's on television, and he's on the front pages.
Good point.
He doesn't have to buy anything. And the fact that you're covering this ad, I mean, we're going to spend about 5 or 6 minutes on it. How much would that cost to buy? Trump at the moment doesn't need to pay for it. He gets plenty of it for free.
All right, so Donald Trump tomorrow goes to Iowa to visit the state fair. His campaign bus has preceded him. I understand fairgoers are just kind of going through the empty bus as if it's a museum piece. What about Trump and his demeanor at the fair and with retail politics in Iowa in general? Will we see more of a traditional candidate retail politics from the Donald?
Well, I think he'll go through those motions, but I think the important thing is the sound bites that you get from it. I think people will mention things to him, and he'll come back with witty, aggressive, strong answers like he's been. I think that both of these topics, the Instagram and this Iowa fair, underscore the fundamental point that Trump is better seen in use seen actively campaigning against the Democrats than he is as some portrait where we study his achievements, his persona, his demeanor, and come to a decision.
Well, you know, Hillary Clinton is also heading to that Iowa State Fair. Clinton picked up a key endorsement from a big Iowan Democrat, former Senator Tom Harkin, in a Des Moines Register op-ed. Harkin says Democrats need to support a candidate that gets things done, and that candidate to him is Hillary Clinton. So my question to you, what does an endorsement like this mean for Clinton?
Oh, nothing. Everyone would assume Harkin would take that view, and it's nothing new. A little bit might mean something because Bernie Sanders is a leftist, and Harkin had a reputation for being on the left side of the Democratic Party when he was a senator. But I don't think the endorsements mean much. I think that in Washington, we're all focused on on left versus right. But increasingly on the campaign trail, they're focused on insider versus outsider. That's what you see with Trump and Ben Carson. It's what you see with Bernie Sanders and the anti-Hillary stuff. And I think that at the moment, the outsiders are doing very well because of the disgust people feel with the insider politicians of both parties.
Well, Bernie Sanders is doing well in the New Hampshire polls, but Hillary still leads among Democrats according to that latest Iowa poll. But with the Justice Department investigation going on, should she prepare to see her numbers in Iowa go down precipitously?
Yeah, well, there's a difference in electorates. In New Hampshire, you have a Democratic primary, and independents are allowed to vote, and therefore you're going to get a broad sample of opinion. In Iowa, it's only Democrats and Democrats who show up at caucuses. So it's the hardcore of the party. And they'll be more defensive of Hillary. But that'll rub off. The problem Hillary has is that she may be indicted. When you have a prosecution on some other grounds, taking bribes or something, conflict of interest, there's broad discretion for a U.S. attorney as to whether to bring an indictment. And the Justice Department generally stays away from going after people who are in the middle of campaigns. But this is military justice. This is the national security establishment. And the evidence may be so compelling when they examine all of those emails that they have no choice but to indict Hillary. And she has no choice but to pull out of the race. That's my bet as to what I think is going to happen.
You really think she's going to be indicted?
I think that the magnitude of the evidence is going to be so overwhelming that it'll be impossible not to indict her. So, yes, I do believe Hillary Clinton will be indicted and will be forced out of this race.
Well, with that going on, two other big names in the Democratic Party mentioned, Vice President Joe Biden, former Vice President Al Gore. Your take on those two guys and the likelihood either one of them or both might get in this race? About 30 seconds, Dick.
I think Biden will. I think that Obama probably wants him to. And I think that he sees Hillary's ship going down from a vantage point very close to the Justice Department. As for Gore, I think he's kind of had it. And I don't think he wants to put himself back in the ring. He's got his Nobel Prize already. But I could be wrong.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and we want to remind you, you can get a copy of Dick Morris' best-selling book, Power Grab, by visiting the website powergrab411.com. We began the conversation with Dick Morris about Donald Trump, and Trump, of course, when he's on the stump, wears a certain campaign cap. It's got that slogan across it, Make America Great Again. Now, you can get your very own Make America Great Again cap, a $25 value, free with this offer. All you need to do is pay shipping and handling. Here's what you also need to do. Go to newsmax.com/TrumpCap or call 1-800-485-4350. That's 1-800-485-4350. We'll be right back.